Well, there we go. We have a tie with a Mothership special shade. That is something. Breaking news, people. Hi everybody, I am literally a bag of nerves. Look what's just arrived. Now, I'm a bag of nerves because I've never spent this much on makeup before. I'm a bag of nerves because I don't know if I'm going to get all sorts of grief for putting this video up. I want you to listen to me first. Could I please just ask anyone who may have tuned into this video, who's full of anger with me right now for even reviewing this, to let me explain why I'm reviewing it. And if you still think I'm an idiot, then please feel free to tell me. But can I just ask that you be kind, because I am such an anxious person and it's taken me enough to actually come on YouTube anyway as a career, but I'm not very good at dealing with hostilities, I have to say. So if you're really angry with me, I'd prefer it if you left me alone, in all honesty, but obviously I want your thoughts. So if you really want to tell me off, feel free, but please let me explain why I am reviewing one eyeshadow and one lipstick from the brand new Louis Vuitton and Pat McGrath makeup release. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe to my channel. Lots of people do tune in, but they don't always subscribe, so if you could, that would be super helpful. I do upload here regularly. If you are already subscribed, welcome back. Thank you so very much for being here. I truly do appreciate every single one of you. And my skin tone for looking at what matches today, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that can lean a little bit neutral. I've also got blue eyes. Anyway, that is enough about me. Let's dive straight into the Louis Vuitton review. So let's get this out of the way first. Why did I buy this? So some of you might have seen the post that I put up, firstly about I've seen it's coming out, it's very expensive, what do you think? I would say 90% of you were just saying don't get this, total rip-off, etc, etc. Then I got the prices, I put the post out, these are the prices I'm hearing, what do you think? Same reaction. I would say 5% of you are saying review this. And then I started getting a few private messages from people who probably didn't feel able to say publicly, I want a review of this. And this got me talking with Rebecca from Not Fit for Print Beauty, whose accounts you will see linked below, or details for how to find Rebecca linked below in my course description. Gosh, I'm talking about my degree there. What am I talking about? See, this is how off the rails I am with the nerves. Anyway. In my video description you will find Rebecca, but if anyone missed it, me and Rebecca did a live and we'd had a chat about this, a chat amongst ourselves and a chat with you, the beauty community, on your thoughts. And to be honest, the more we talked about it and why we might review it, the more people seem to have a very different sort of opinion on whether or not we should. And I've since formed the opinion that a lot of you told me not to review this, basically because you're looking out for me, as in, don't spend that much money, we've got lots of other good things coming, this is expensive, we don't expect you to buy it. And if that was the case, I'm so grateful. I really appreciate you thinking of me, I genuinely do. But sometimes I think a lot of you mistake my question as a consumer rather than a reviewer. I'm not really thinking, shall I get this for me as something I can personally enjoy, even though it's great if I can. My job is to review makeup. That's what I do for a living. So every time I buy a product, it's very much an investment on my part, because it's something I can use again and again to do swatch comparisons. I can gain experience with a new brand or maybe a reformulated formula with a brand. This is how I learn about what's going on in the makeup industry, so I can give you the information you need to make informed decisions. So that's what I do. It's not really a hobby channel where I'm just sort of chatting to you about, shall I buy this, shall I buy that? It's very much, is this something you want to see? If so, I will invest in it. So this is something I know I can do a lot of swatch comparisons with, because I have gone, I'll tell you now, I've gone for the blue. If you saw my live, you'll know I wanted to get the blue. I love the look of the blue. I've bought so many blue eyeshadows from so many good brands that I know I'm in a position to make comparisons for you, for those of you who are thinking of buying it. And that's exactly why I do this. That's why I've invested in things like the blue Chanel's and the blue, I'm looking at them all in front of me now, Clé de Peau, Pat McGrath, Givenchy, Charlotte Tilbury, Victoria Beckham. I'm going to make those comparisons for you today, but why do I invest in all of those? Yes, they're colours I like to work with because I want my job to be fun, but essentially I do buy these releases for review and so that I can pull them out again. So those products I bought previously are now doing a job for me again. They're my investments in my job. So that's why I did this, because a lot of you are worried about contributing to the rising costs in beauty, and I know that is a concern. I honestly don't know whether this will bump it up or not, but me reviewing this and telling you if I think the formulas match up, and you'll see for yourself when we do swatches in a minute, will help you decide, is it worth the splurge? So that's why I made the decision to do it. And when we started talking about the fact that I actually want to review it because I'm in a position to make those comparisons, I would say 95% of you told me, do it. It's your channel, do it. Don't feel you can't. I think I had about 2 people saying they might unsubscribe or they'd be very mad with me. And if that's you, I'm sorry, I really am. But I want to, this is my job and this is what I do. And I've made this decision based on my thoughts, what I think might be useful to you, and also mostly on the feedback I got from you when I told you my true feelings, and the overwhelming feedback was you wanted to see this, so that's what's happening. Please forgive me if you're mad, and don't be too mean to me, please. So we're going to look at cost before we look at swatches, and then we'll be trying on a look. But if you saw my live, you might have seen me and Rebecca have a chat about, we've been getting together to talk about how we personally deal with the rising cost of makeup, because it's getting very, very difficult for me and Rebecca to buy all these products for review and make any money. We're trying to make a living, but it's costing us a small fortune. So we've got together and we've decided from now on, when there's a big release, instead of me getting every shade, I'm going to get the colours that most work on my skin tone. Rebecca's going to get the colours that most work on her skin tone, and we'll let you know. So for instance, we had the recent Chanel launch with the Vuitton eyeshadows. I bought all 4. Me and Rebecca can chat about that in advance before launch day, and I know the 2 colours I think will work best on my skin tone. So when I'm doing the review, I can say to you, I'm doing these 2. Hop on over to Rebecca at Not Fit for Print Beauty and you'll be able to see Rebecca reviewing XYZ. And that's exactly what's happening today, because this video is actually going out at exactly the same time as Rebecca's video, and Rebecca has a different shade of the eyeshadow, which I'll tell you which one now, and she also has a different shade in the lipstick. So if you're already there and you're coming to me, thank you for coming over from watching Rebecca's video, and if you're not, please do hop over onto Rebecca's video and then you can watch a different shade of each. So hopefully that will help you. It helps us to be able to afford to do this, and it helps you to see more shades. Also, Rebecca has a deeper skin tone to me, so it's quite good because you get to see the different shades that are more likely to suit Rebecca on her skin tone. So that's something we're doing moving forward. We have talked about possibly doing lives where we can even show the ones we got side by side in a live video and have a chat about how Rebecca got on with certain products we did this month, how I got on with products this month. So anyway, sorry about all the chat in here, but there's been a lot to think about, and I really did want you to be on board and, well, certainly informed. You don't have to be on board, you can tell me it's a terrible idea, but I did want you to understand what the thinking is behind what we're doing. So now let's look at the shade I did get, and I can tell you the shade that Rebecca got. So firstly, I'll put the eyeshadow shades all up on the screen now so you can see all of them. And Rebecca has got shade 250 Nude Mirage, which I'll pop separately at the bottom of the screen, and I have got 950 Sky is the Limit. So the cost of these eyeshadows, £190, but the refill is £69. So that's another thing I really think we need to think about, because if you get, for instance, an Hermes quad, it comes in a very thin plasticky package. It's not ugly by any means, it's very beautiful, but it's very lightweight, very, very cheap materials really, and you pay more than £69. I think I pay around £90 for one of these quads. So it comes with a little mirror, but it's a very cheap basic packaging, not refillable. So this one is about 95, something like that, so we're looking at paying £69 for the refill of the Louis Vuitton. So when people think it's really expensive, makeup goes off, that was my initial thoughts. Why are they overpriced that much? Why are they charging more than Hermes? But in reality, if you put this plastic case over the Louis Vuitton eyeshadow, I don't think they'd be charging more than exactly the same as Hermes. what they are charging for is exquisite packaging. When I first saw the videos, if you've seen them on the Louis Vuitton website, you will know what I'm talking about. It reminds me of when they launch, say, a Jaguar car, and they show the mechanics of the engine, and they do these beautiful videos. The way that the components are put together and the materials used to make these cases remind me of that. They're extremely high-end, and that is what we're paying for. So you could just buy one case and you could buy some refills. You don't have to buy more than one case, and you can pop the refills in and out as and when you're using them. And I do believe, I haven't looked yet, but I think we might even be able to change the colours, so we can even take one colour out and swap it over. I'm not sure, we'll see when I get there now. But that is why I don't think it's actually that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as I first thought. I'm paying less than an Hermes if I go back and just get the refill. So it is the case I've just paid for, which was my decision just to get one. And I've got to say, I was so excited. I've never bought a Louis Vuitton anything. I've never had a Louis Vuitton bag, nothing. This is my first Louis Vuitton purchase in my life. So to have a box arrive, I needed my passport when it arrived to prove who I was. That's never happened to me before with makeup. I just felt really special. So I am now in possession of a Louis Vuitton piece, which I can actually pretty much justify paying for compared with handbags, which I really can't at the moment, to be honest with you. So it's another way of getting your foot into one of these big designer brands that sometimes really feel out of reach with the prices. But now with this case, which I've now got for life, I've got my first Louis Vuitton piece. So that's quite exciting. So we're going to look at the eyeshadow. So before I show you it here and we look at the swatches, here is my swatch video and my unboxing video, so you can see the whole experience. So here it is. Isn't it absolutely stunning? So I don't think in that video I put it back in this case, but you would have seen there's two brushes and they've got little holders so they don't go loose. So I will try those brushes today. Not that I'm a fan of those sorts of brushes, but if you want to take this on the go, you've got your brushes in your pouch, which is already a step up, and then this packaging. Now, I wanted to be able to tell you, when I hold this in my hand, does this give me the same vibes as, say, a Glam lipstick case or one of my most treasured things? Does it give me that vibe? Does it make me think I'm holding something exceptional? Because that's really important when you look at the cost. And I have to say the answer to that is an absolute yes. This is weighty. I don't know if this is solid brass, but it's certainly not a thin metal. I'm useless at knowing these things, to be honest with you. The top of this looks almost like a carved stone. If you look here, isn't it just beautiful? And these symbols, they remind me of those sort of, is it medieval? Yeah, I think I'm thinking of medieval. You know, medieval paintings or ceilings, the sort of patterns they have in the ceilings. It reminds me of that. I think it is exceptional. It really is really, really beautiful. And what I'm dying to try is this on the back, which I saw in the video. So let's take a look. So if I open it up, again, very solid, beautiful mirror, exceptionally clear. I mean, you can really see everything as beautifully as I can in, I know mirrors are mirrors, but honestly, this one is a beauty. It absolutely is. And then we have the eyeshadows, which swatched really, really, really well. I'm very, very impressed. Let's see how they look compared to others though. That's going to be the big one. But now let's press this button on the back, which is what I wanted to do. There we go. And that just pops up. And there we have the eyeshadows, which I believe I can now just remove. I'm actually scared to do it because I don't want to do anything to upset this. And I've put my nail in the eyeshadow already. As I was hoping, they're magnetic and they're coming out individually. It's just the magnet is so strong it's hard to get them out. So look, here is one removed. See, I put my nail in it, honestly. And then it just clicks back in. Can I show you this without... You can see how strong the magnet is without me having it in place. I need to look what I'm doing. I don't want to put my nail into any more of them. It's a very strong magnet. So that is cool as well. So if you get some of the refills in other colours, you can mix and match and create your own four like you can with Lisa Eldridge and Natasha Denona. I think that is brilliant. So that's a really, really good touch. And then just click that back down, I believe. Yeah. Honestly, I've got my nail in 3 of them. Oh, gee whiz, I should stop filming really. I'm clearly in a complete muddle here. It's later in the day, I've had my coffee. I'm nervous about doing this video. Let's go on to the swatches. By then I'll have probably carved them all out. I'll have nothing left. Anyway, let's just get going. Right, so the first one I've got in front of me is Byredo Mineralscapes. I don't think we have a colour match here, but I'll look at certainly this deep blue here and maybe this one here, these two. So the first thing I'll do actually is put the Louis Vuitton on my hand so we can do the comparisons to it. So it's swatched beautifully. The light blue is probably one of the more dry out of all of them. It looks more like it is a sort of topper, slightly creamy though, but I think on my skin tone it will have full coverage. They really do swatch well. The blue, sort of metallic blue, and then we have a matte blue. So there is the topper blue, metallic blue, and then, so I'd say shimmer, metallic, satin, or it feels like, yeah, it feels like a satin rather than a flat matte because it's got a little bit of shine to it and it feels so creamy. And I can't just do this, which I often do when I'm swatching, and then move on to the next one because look how much pigment there is and look how it's sticking to my fingers and my hands. So that's a very good sign. Not easy when you're swatching, but it's a good sign about the quality here and how it's going to last on the eyes. So now I'll swatch. It's so smooth and velvety, the taupey shade. There they are. So let's look at the Byredo. Hopefully I don't need to go back into the Louis Vuitton. See if I can do a match with Byredo. I can sort of. So here is Byredo and here is Louis Vuitton. The Louis Vuitton is reading more smooth. You can definitely get these colours, similar colours anyway. There is another brown in the Byredo. That one, actually that's a better match, isn't it? Yeah, so with these 3 you can pretty much get a very similar look. If you look at the quality of that one there. This one's more like a satin. I would say, I'm going to say after each comparison which one I think wins. I say this is nearly a draw, but I would give that one to Louis Vuitton. Please do tell me what you think. You may completely disagree with me. So I have here a Clé de Peau, this is a refill. I haven't actually bought the case to go with it. Which number is it? It's number 11, Azure Blue Sea. I've never even tried it. It's in my list to try it. And I was going to pop it in last year's holiday case because it was so pretty. I love that one. It's look at me, I'm dropping this now. So here it is. So we don't have more than 2 matches here, but again, we were talking really formula comparisons with other formulas that are expensive. Clé de Peau being a good example if you buy that one. The refill for the Clé de Peau, by the way, I paid about 55, so what did I say we're paying with this one? 69, so there's not a huge difference between a Clé de Peau refill and a Louis Vuitton, but the Louis Vuitton is a bit more. The blue, I think, swatches almost more. I prefer the blue. There's 3 blues, that's not going to help you. I prefer the light blue, I think, with the Clé de Peau. This one is so similar. I slightly prefer the way the Louis Vuitton swatched. If you can see, it's just a smoother, cleaner swatch. So it's a draw with Clé de Peau because I slightly prefer the lighter blue. So Louis hasn't lost yet, but he did draw that one. I've got this 5 pan from Natasha Denona. This is the Trio Chrome, the mini Trio Chrome. So let's see which shades I think might match up. Here is Natasha Denona, here is Louis Vuitton. I think these two shades here from Natasha do beat Louis Vuitton for me. This one maybe not quite so much, so maybe the mattes, even though they look more like satins to me, I don't have confirmation on that. Maybe it's in my notes somewhere, I'll look in a minute, but I think that the matte from Natasha Denona doesn't beat the smoothness of this one, but this sort of wet look, metallic, it's just got a little bit more to it. But then that is what happens when you compare things like Natasha Denona to Chanel and Dior, because they are just that bit more, what's the word, they're less pigmented, they're much more easy to use, and they're going to give you a lighter, softer look. And I think from what I've heard, that's what the Louis Vuitton line is all about. So it's very much in line with the Chanel and Dior sort of thinking. So I think when I get to Pat McGrath, I'll probably be thinking the same thing. But anyway, we shall see. But it is looking like, if you love those wow shades, they're not quite so much the wow shades with Louis Vuitton. They're a little bit more soft like Chanel. So I have here the Givenchy 9 pan, which was from last Christmas. So this is number 9.14, and this one had some lovely taupes and blue in it, so that's the one I wanted to compare. There's Givenchy, there's Louis Vuitton. I think Givenchy wins this one for me. Maybe these two I like the same, but the way that this is just so clear and swatched so smoothly, I think Givenchy wins there. Okay, Louis is not doing so well now. What have you got on your scorecard? I hope you are taking scores, because I would love to hear. Not that I'm writing down my results, maybe you can tell me at the end, because I'll be completely frazzled by the time I've done all of these swatch comparisons. Anyway, next in my pile I've got Charlotte Tilbury's 9 pan, which launched this year. So this is the Beautifying Eye Trends. So that one is all blue. Here is Charlotte Tilbury. I've managed to put 2 shades, I think it was this one and this one, twice. Can you see how it's just more glittery and less refined? This is going to give you more of an elegant soft look, the Louis Vuitton. Charlotte Tilbury, I think these formulas are exceptional still. I love them. They work so beautifully on the eyes, and for blues they blend out beautifully. They swatch beautifully, but they're all quite sparkly. And the Louis Vuitton is just that bit softer. So who wins there? I think I'd have to call that one a draw, because for me I like the sparkle. There's going to be some of you watching who leans one way or the other. I like both. It depends what mood I'm in. So if I wanted the sparkle, it would be a draw. So what do you think? Now I've got Victoria Beckham, and Victoria Beckham reformulated her eyeshadow palettes this year, and this is the blue one. I can't see the name of it. I'm not going to take it out and drag this video out any longer than necessary, because it is a long swatch fest we have going on here. Oh, the blue in this one is something else. It really is. That is already one, the light blue. Victoria's in the lead here, but the other 3 are all mattes, so maybe she won't be an overall winner. Here is Victoria Beckham, and here is Louis Vuitton. They're actually not that dissimilar, are they? But this one from Victoria Beckham, for me and formula, it beats any of those. That one is just absolutely stunning. What do you think? But because of the other 3 shades being more matte, and I love the Louis Vuitton, and it's got the brown, I'm actually going to give this one to Louis Vuitton. If Victoria had given us 2 of those formulas I love, she could have won that one, but never mind, it was close. So I've got the Chanel Rivage. I've been told that the denim one from Chanel, which I don't have, could be a really good comparison here. So if you have that in your collection, that could be a good one to think about. Here's the Chanel formula. These are the 2 shades from Rivage. And if you remember Rivage, the formulas in that are phenomenal. Is this better than this? No. I would actually argue they're very similar. Very, very similar. So that would make the Louis Vuitton quality very similar to Chanel, which is what I was expecting. And because of the colours we're getting in this one, again, I think I would just about give this one to Louis Vuitton, even though Rivage was one of my top quads of last year. I've also got the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes, which launched last Christmas, and this is the Midnight one, the blue one. I think it was called Midnight, wasn't it? Yeah, Moonlight, sorry. So all I've got to compare here really is a taupe and a blue. Makeup by Mario, look at this one compared to that one. I think it beats it. Gorgeous, and this matte swatch so beautifully. It's more pigmented, but it's so smooth. And then this one obviously is lighter, but still, and that one's a matte. I'm giving that to Mario. What do you think? So I've got, before we move on to Pat McGrath, which will be the last one I look at, I've got the Lancome holiday palette from last year. So this is the Celestial Rose palette, and this also had a blue and a taupe. So they're the two that I'm going to swatch now. So these are both the the deep blue is very metallic. I think it's going to have more of a pop actually. Oh, they're so nice. But I'm going to at the same time get the new Lancome, which you might have seen my review for. This just launched now in Europe. Not many places have even got this, so I've just done a review for this if you want to see it. This is the new Lancome, the Great Mini Baudier palette, and this is absolutely gorgeous. And this one has a light blue and a brown, so I'm going to swatch these two as well. So these are going to be the two holiday palettes from Lancome over the last 2 years, side by side basically. Lancome, this year's holiday one, last year's holiday one, Louis Vuitton. This for me beats that from the new palette. This one not so much from last year. This one and this one maybe a tie, and then these two, they are slightly different shades. I prefer this one. It's got more impact. I think Lancome wins there. Oh dear. At the same time, I did say when I reviewed the new holiday palette from Lancome, can anything beat that? Because I love it so much. And last year, the holiday palette Celestial Rose was my #1 holiday launch from 2024. I'm worried now that I've just got blue on that beautiful Lancome palette. No, it's okay. So the last thing to look at now is Pat McGrath. So that's all we're going to look at now. And for me, that's the biggest one to look at because Pat McGrath obviously is partnering here with Louis Vuitton. So let's look at all of the Pat McGraths I've dug out that have blues and taupes, and we can compare those. And then we can move on to the try on. So I've just gone for a coffee break. Hopefully this means I don't start being all shaky. So let's move to Pat McGrath. I've also just noticed, by the way, that my shutter speed on my camera was down a level, which it shouldn't have been. So I do hope that the picture was clear enough and not shaky, because it shouldn't have been on that setting. I must have tapped it. My monitor allows me to change my camera settings, and as I explained, today's just one of those days. I'm just going over the Louis Vuitton swatches, topping them up a bit, because I've been wondering about doing things. I think that shows they build up quite well there, because they're looking quite a bit stronger there. See what I mean? Anyway, Pat McGrath, then we can try on. So I've got out loads of Pat McGrath shades, so we're just going to go through them one by one and look at them. So this one is Pat McGrath Celestial Nirvana Eyeshadow Bronze Bliss. I don't know what I was thinking when I looked at them. I'll see now when I look at them side by side. Must have been the taupe. Now these are very shimmery, so it's not really going to help with the taupe. Now these are Italian formulas. Pat McGrath, look at that. For the £5 Pat McGrath. I think this is already answering my question, even though we haven't looked at Motherships yet. That if you're expecting that wow shade in Mothership, I already know from comparing it to other ones we've looked at, we're not getting that. But anyway, I've got the Bijou Brilliance, the Lunar Nightshade here. So I think this one has a blue. Well, it's more of a green actually, but anyway. Why did I get this one out? It's not really comparable. Oh, okay, well I'll just show you. But I don't know why I got that one because it's not comparable. So again, that's the £5. They're the only £5 I got because it really is the motherships I want to look at. So let's go straight to motherships. Starting with Mothership Divine Rose. These two Divine Rose. Here is the Louis Vuitton. So not the special shades. They're still looking a lot like they've got a lot more going for them than these if you're looking for that impact. You do need to really like this wow in your face high shine that you get from Mothership. So again, this is going to be down to personal taste. I'll swatch those off. I'll wipe those off. But for me, Pat McGrath is in the lead at the moment, even though this is Pat versus Pat in theory. It's Pat and Louis versus Pat. This is old Pat, the Pat we all love. So now I've got Bronze Seduction. So that's from Bronze Seduction. That's the only slight similar one there. And again, it's not a special shade. It would be good if one of these shades I compare was one of her special shades. So I've got Mothership 1, and the blue in Mothership 1 is one of the special shades. So we have a blue comparison. This is the one I thought of. I don't know why I said I hope there'll be one, because this is the one I thought of when I thought of comparing these two. So, gee whiz. I think they're the same. That has amazed me. Let me just double check. Let me put them both on my fingers. It's the deep metallic blue. Mothership special shade here on the left. Louis Vuitton on the right. And here, this is Louis Vuitton. Here's Pat McGrath. So slightly more pigment. They look so similar. This one is Mothership and this one is Louis Vuitton. There's still something better about this one. But honestly, on close-up inspection, they look so similar. The formula looks so similar. I don't know if it's just a depth of colour thing, because they really, on my arm, they look the same. On my hand, they look the same. That's really blown my mind. I was expecting it to beat it hands down. Honestly, looking at them together, if you were here now, I don't think you'd tell them apart on my hand. Well, there we go. We have a tie with a Mothership special shade. That is something. Breaking news, people. That makes me want to try more of these now. Is the wow shade in all of the other Louis Vuitton going to be like one from the Mothership special shades? I'd love to hear. Can't wait to hear what Rebecca thinks when she tries her one out. Right, so that was the best one. But anyway, I've also got Mothership 6. So Mothership special shade. And this is the slight similarity. They're not really the same. But it's more, again, about comparing formulas. So this is non-special shade with special shade. I do think that this blue matches up the special shade. I really do. Last one to look at, and then I can actually get these on my eyes. So we have Mothership 3. That's a special shade, and that one isn't. So how do we think these are comparing? Do you know what this has taught me today is looking at all these other brands. We always think that Motherships are better than all of them, but because I thought so many of those beat Louis Vuitton, and now when I put Mothership up against the Louis Vuitton, it's not, in my mind, beating it. It's equal. For me, it is equal to it. Whether it will be an application is another matter, but in swatching it is, which tells me we've just been putting Motherships up on such a high level, we haven't realised that the new ones coming out are as good, if not better, which in my opinion, a lot of the ones I've looked at today, like the Mario one and the Lancome ones, they are. Anyway, let me put these Motherships away. The last thing I want to do is drop these. Look at my wipe from cleaning off all of these blues. Probably have a blue hand now, it's not going to come off. So finally I can actually put this on. So I'm going to try two different looks with this. I've had two different looks in mind. One more like the one on the Louis Vuitton website, one more the way I like to apply it. So I'm going to start with Louis' website suggestion, which means starting with this one here. And great news, we have a fly in the room. We've got so many flies around at the moment because we've got the windows open and it's just that time of year, so please ignore the fly. So let's try this taupey brown in the crease and all over the whole mobile lid. This is the one I thought was more like a satin or a matte. I'm not getting a massive pigment. Applying very easily, very smoothly, very evenly, and very, very easy, like Chanel level ease of application, I would say. That would actually be nice as a one and done on its own. Just a little bit of eyeliner, off you go. I can see a lot of people liking that shade. And for the other side, I was going to start with this as well. Not all over the lid, just in the crease and the outer V section here. So this is my transition basically on the other look. So this is me applying it the way I like to apply it, or the way I probably would have if I hadn't seen the Louis Vuitton way. Or suggestion. If you go on the website, there's a few suggestions for different ways to wear it on different tones and things, so give you ideas. And for my skin tone, that's the sort of shade I'm going to go for, look I'm going to go for even. Let's see, this stupid fly. Do you know why the fly's in? Because I've just been in the kitchen to make a coffee and they all come flooding in when they see my lights. The dogs have had the back door open and they've been in and out. And the flies are in. So this is my Pencil Pro from Sonia G, taking this brown underneath. Superbly easy to apply. And that is a really pretty shade. Very, very smooth, very even and very easy. Mature skin friendly, I would say, not exaggerating texture particularly. Just want to clean the brush off a bit and just go around the edges a bit to just soften there. Look how quick and easy it is to do that. Super easy. Very, very, very lovely formulas. I can't knock these formulas. I can't. I'm trying to be as, well, I'm not trying. I am being as honest as I absolutely can be. And part of me wants to say this is useless because of the high cost. But it's not at the moment. It's not. But let's continue. I may well change my mind. So, for this simple look, let me think. I'm going to take, I think I'll take the Pencil Pro again actually to start this, and I'm going to go into the lighter of the next two blues, so that one that looked a bit like the Mothership special shade. And I'm going to take this now along the lash line, so it's going on top of that taupe, and this is where you see the blue mixed with taupe, which is such a beautiful combination. And applying it with this brush, which does pick up quite a lot of product, it's not too difficult, it's not too much. I'd say it's more buildable than the special shade in the Mothership. So it's almost like a Mothership finish with a little bit less of a scary application because you can sort of build it instead of getting that intensity instantly. I really, really like that. Sorry, this fly is driving me bananas. I just want to take this up for a slightly thicker wing here. I really want to see this pop of blue. Maybe on the website they used a bit less than this, but I do need to see it a bit more than this. That is really nice, really nice. And then on this side, I'm going to go into the same blue using a fluffy blender brush. I'm going to tap this into this area here and start building up a bit of blue more intensely. So not that fine line, more intense application. Can you see the pop there? Picking it up with this brush, I've got a lot there on my brush. Still not quite as tricky as a Mothership blue would be because of the pigment, but it's still pretty powerful. They're not being stingy with pigment, let's be honest. So I'm bringing it into the crease but stopping here. I can go back in with a fluffy brush with the taupe, just go slightly over the edges of it there so the two of them can blend together and soften a bit. I will clean up a little bit at the end, but the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my BK Beauty, the 207, and go into this light blue here. This look, which is the more soft, elegant look I suppose, compared to the one I'm going to do here. We're just putting a pop of this in the inner corner. It really is beautiful. I want to introduce it more, but I'm going to hold myself back because that's what they did on the website roughly. If you check it out, you'll probably say I'm doing a terrible job compared to the website. But I'm going to take this now on my finger. As I rub my finger into this blue one, it almost has a wet feel to it. Now I want to take this all across the mobile lid, which I'm hoping it's going to pop enough. I say that because it almost looks like a topper, this one. Not that it's used as a topper in this look from the website, but I think it could be. It's not quite full coverage on me, is it? Let's see if I can get a bit more using my finger again. I'm not getting fallout from anything at the moment, not a drop, and I'm not being careful applying it with my finger. It's not moving. Well, that is very beautiful. It is emphasising my texture though. And I've got to say, having tried on the Lancome Holiday palette yesterday, which had the blue and the taupe, Lancome is in the lead here. I have to do a video comparing these two. In fact, if you've got a request for me to do a side-by-side of this palette with any of the ones I showed you earlier, which one would you most like me to do? I'll definitely do a few of those. And I'm definitely going to do the Holiday Lancome. What else would you like to see a side-by-side? If I get the time to film a short comparing them side-by-side, I will definitely do that. But it's whether or not you like this shade of blue. I don't know if it's better formula-wise with compared to the Lancome. It's just a different shade of blue. It's a bit deeper than the one in the Lancome. The Lancome one is more of a sort of frosty white. Not quite white, but it gives more of a pop. So I'm going in with the fluffy brush to sort of bring it into the crease a bit. So I will take the BK Beauty again and pop it in the inner corner. So far I am preferring this side, you know, to this one. I think all blue there is not such a good look. And I'm going to take a sort of liner brush from Sonia G, and I'm going to go then into the deepest of all of them. And I'm going to do exactly the same on both sides here. I'm going to line over. So we use the Pencil Pro, which is a much wider brush, to take the other sort of more metallic-y blue. Now this darker shade of blue is going over it, but in a more fine line. So tight to the lash line there. The same here, so I won't take it thick into the wing, I'll stick tight to my lash line. Oh yeah. I'm glad I decided to copy that look because I really like it, you know. I really, really, really like that. I think what's selling it so much is the taupe on its own is beautiful, and then this line of blue just makes the taupe pop. Oh, that makes it really special. So if I compare this type of look with the Lancome, I think it would win that one, you know. So maybe it's an unfair comparison because the Lancome only has the one blue. I feel like on this side, doing it the way I would normally do it, it's just all become a little bit muddy. And it just shows that because of my lighter complexion as well, it's better to just have a little bit of the blue pop. If you look on the website, on deeper skin tones, they show pictures of using the blue in a really bold way, like taking, for instance, this one across the whole of the mobile lid. And on a deeper skin tone, that looks absolutely stunning. On me, it's just way too much, and it's very dark on me and doesn't suit me. And I think on this eye, because I've built the sort of blue with the brown, I feel like it's all become a little bit muddy, so I don't like this look too much. I thought it would work thinking I could get that pop like I did with the Lancome. I almost want to keep going back into this blue, hoping I can get it to pop a bit more. But I can go over and over, I don't think I can get it to pop much more. Maybe it has a little bit. Maybe going over it with a fluffy brush actually brought the pop down. Actually, that is a bit better, going back over it again, isn't it? I'll just take a little bit more of this deepest blue. Try and make a wing show up a little bit there, not too much. There we go. Two very different looks. A very blue look and more of a taupe with a pop of blue. That one is definitely the one I think works better for my skin tone. I love that. I really love that. I will, as always, go into my Tom Ford Black Diamond because, well, can I go a day of my life without doing that? And I'll be using this to go underneath the brow because certainly there's no shade in this for that. I'll also use it to just clean up a little bit here. This side not so desperately in need of it, but the other side definitely is, to sharpen it up. And then I'll go off camera, I'll do my mascara and we can take a look at the lipstick that I got. Gone on and done mascara, just one layer, keeping it light as I usually do. I'm going to zoom you in so you can look at my eyes. One thing I wanted to try and get across on camera is the sparkle that catches in the light, which you can really see on this one. I really hope you can see it because it is absolutely beautiful, this blue, the way it catches. It really is quite a magical blue, which makes me think it is a bit more special, you know, possibly than the Lancome, which I did not expect to say. And this taupe is definitely better than the one in the Lancome. I think that this taupe is absolutely stunning. And I love the taupe with these blues. I love both looks. I think this would be more of an evening vibe if I was matching it to a blue dress and it's for like an evening look. And then this one more of a day look that's really elegant. Which one do you prefer? Or if like made you think both? I do think both, but I do think this one's very bold. It's got to be the right place, the right occasion. This one anytime. I love it though. I am not remotely unhappy with the formulas, the way they applied. I love the special finish. I'm seeing those little shimmers of gold without feeling them, without getting this single drop of fallout. You catch them as you turn and it looks so beautiful. It's giving me mothership vibes. It really is. And that's what we've wanted. I haven't felt that from the most recent mothership and from the most recent quads from Pat McGrath. I am definitely feeling it from this one. And that's really exciting me. And I think I've already talked myself into going back for some of the refills if they're still available. I think I will literally get off camera and go and check. I think I have to try at least one more. Because this has really wowed me. More so than I expected. Honestly, I was expecting to say this is a rip-off. The packaging is amazing, the formula not so good. The formula is fantastic. So maybe all this hype was worth it in the end. So let's go back into my little bag, which I'll be keeping forever. Will this be my last ever little bag from Louis Vuitton? Certainly my first ever. Very special. So let's look at the lipstick. And before we look at the lipstick, let me play you my swatch video of the one that I picked up. So here it is. Do you know, I've just realised I didn't even try the brushes that came with the eyeshadow. I will try them at some point. I don't like using brushes that come with things, but because these were Louis Vuitton, I did want to give them a go. So I will at some point and I'll let you know. Do check out my end of month review, which will now be coming end of September because this is very much towards the end of August, so it won't be my August roundup. This will be reviewed again with my final thoughts, having used it with all of the comparison videos I plan on doing. So I'll definitely try those brushes. So hold that thought, I will get back to you. But anyway, back to the lipstick. So you've seen here that the shade I've got is one of the satins. So you can get matte, you can get a lip balm, and you can get a satin. They're all the same price, they're all £120. That's the case and the lipstick together. But if you just want to get the refill, or if you want to top up later, the refill is £52. So it's a huge difference. It's less than half price, and I've just paid around 55, I think it was, for a Chantecaille lipstick. I don't know if it's here next to me so I can give you an idea of the packaging. It should be, but I can't see it. Oh, there, is that it? Yeah, so there's the Chantecaille. Lovely packaging with Chantecaille. I got a feeling that, no, it's recyclable, but it's just a thin packaging. So you're paying 55, I think, for that in the case. The refill for these is 52, so just a bit less. So again, it's the packaging we're paying for, not the makeup. So the makeup is pretty much on target price-wise with all of the other sort of high-end brands like Hermes, Chantecaille, Tom Ford, Chanel. So it is the packaging, and the packaging is the best packaging I've ever seen, I think. Lipstick-wise, does this case for me beat the beautiful Guerlain cases I adore? Absolutely not. This is a very basic type of lipstick packaging. Basic as in very standard, like from a distance this just looks like any old lipstick case, but if you look at it more close up, it isn't. It's very, very special. It's very heavy. This looks like a wedding band. You can see the colour there of the lipstick. I think it is very special, and you have to feel it and try it and open it to really appreciate just how gorgeous this packaging is. It's got a very, very strong magnet. And I've only gone for the satin because I don't want to try the mattes in this. I wanted to go for a creamy formula, but I'm hearing from a few people the mattes are quite dry. So if you do try the matte, please do let me know, because they're so expensive. I'd rather tell you that if it's no good, but I won't be getting one. They're too expensive for me to play around with. And to let you know, Rebecca, as we said, not fit for print beauty. She's got shade 896. I'll pop a picture up now, and that one is Monogram Rouge. So you can see that deep red on Rebecca. Rebecca loves her reds, they suit her. I'm not a fan of reds, so you can go and see a deep red on Rebecca, and I think that shade will be very popular actually. So it does say that these are actually recyclable, these lipstick refills as well, so obviously interchangeable. And there's 55 shades of these. It's 20, I think they're split between the satin and the matte. So it's not 55 in each, if that's what you're thinking. One to suit every mood, it says here on the website. Plenty of intense pigmentation, exquisite sensoriality, bestowing your lips with long-lasting luminous colour for 8 hours. 24 hours of hydration and comfort, and each refill can only be used with the LV Rouge or LV Balm case. So if you get the lip balm, you can change them over. So you can put your refill. Let me see. Oh, it's very easy to take out. Here's the refill as it is on its own. And it might say here what the name of the actual lipstick is. Let me have a look. It's actually printed on the bullet. Wow. I need my magnifying glass, which I keep here for this very purpose. It says on it the address, Louis Vuitton, made in France. It doesn't say the name of the lipstick on it though, which is a little bit annoying. Why doesn't it have the name? If they can do all that writing, why can't you? Oh, wait a minute, sorry, it does. On the other side, LV Rouge Satin, 201 Spell on You, which is actually a bit bigger and easier to read. I didn't need my magnification glass for that. So when I pop it in, it's completely hidden. So if you want to find out what your shade is, it's very easy to just take it out and it goes in on its own. You don't even need to click it in, it just falls in on its own. Well, I did need a tiny click then, but anyway. Beautiful packaging. The technology behind this packaging is unmatched. So let's try it on. Definitely really, really creamy. Slightly more pinky than I was hoping for with this shade, but that's me with my lips, which like to change the colour of everything. Nice sort of pointed edge so I can line with it as well. Very comfortable. This is a pretty pink. I'm not sure it goes with the eye look I've gone for. I think it's going to be more of a summer shade for me, this one. I should have gone for a richer one really, shouldn't I? More autumnal, but... Oh, that is a really nice formula. That's giving Dior, the Dior satin finish for me. Oh, that is really nice. There's no signs of this bleeding out at all. It's very much gripping in. Very easy to apply without making a mistake in that case. As I move my lips, it's just not moving outside at all. That is a gorgeous formula, really, really nice. 10 out of 10 for the formula. I like the colour, but I'm not sure it goes with my eye looks. More of a summer shade. I'd like to go back and get 5 colours, but we are looking at a lot of spend here, so I do need to be sensible, and my spending is off the scale at the moment with this channel, and I do need to be careful with it, which is why me and Rebecca are going into partnership to reduce costs. Anyway, so there we are. That's the end of my Louis Vuitton review. What do you think of the lipstick and the eyeshadows and the 2 looks? And what did you think when I was doing the swatch comparisons? If you remember, I was very much, it's not winning a lot of these, but on the eyes, I think it is, you know, I really do. And what amazed me was how that deep blue, the metallic-y blue, was a match for that Mothership. Mothership won. Can you believe that? I honestly thought I was going to show you the 2 of those and be, oh wow, Mothership has completely ruined Louis Vuitton here. It's nowhere near as good. But it absolutely was. And the way it's performed, I think anyone who tries these eyeshadows is going to love them. I really don't think you won't. It's got everything I need. It's got the depth, the pigmentation, the formula, the ease of use, the little bit of sparkle, the party vibe to it, the fact that there's no fallout. It's giving every single thing I could personally wish for in an eyeshadow, and I pretty much guarantee you, if they're in stock, I will be going back and getting at least 1 more refill because I'm so impressed. And that's from a personal point of view. I really want to try that 1 more. So there we are. It was worth, I think it was worth trying. It was worth finding out if this stacked up. And in some ways I was hoping to say it wasn't, so that anyone watching it would save you some money, and I can say wait for the next holiday release, which I still would actually. We have an awful lot of holiday releases coming out. We've got 9 Pounds from Chanel, we've got the Clé de Peau launch, we've got Tom Ford's launch. What else have we got that's exciting me at the moment? I can't even remember. I don't need to go into all of that. The point is we have a huge amount of holiday releases coming out. I don't know if these are going to come back into stock. I know they sold out in the US. We still have some left in the UK. I don't know if it's a question of when this launch is sold out, that's it. So I don't know, and I certainly wouldn't want to tell you to rush out and get it, but I really don't know. We don't get any information on this. So if you miss it, is it a disaster? Do you already have these colours? Well, I've shown you today with all of the things in my collection. There's a very strong chance you have these colours if you go for this blue. So no, you don't need to get it. Would you love it if you get it? I think you would. Is it worth it? You decide. I do hope that this video has not upset anybody. I've not offended the people who didn't want me to get it, but those of you that did, I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, I would appreciate it ever so much if you hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, I would be delighted if you did subscribe to my channel. But if you're already subscribed, you are here at the end of another review, and I appreciate you so much, especially all the support you've given me in my nerves about doing this video. You really backed me up and made me feel like I have got the strength to do this. So thank you so much. Honestly, you're a fabulous community, and I genuinely appreciate you all so much. And anyway, that's it from me. I will hopefully see you all again for my next video. Take care, everybody.